We are in the poorest country on Earth, and our flight is headed to one of the poorest parts of it. This is South Sudan's Upper Nile region, next to the border with Sudan. It's a place where people already struggle to feed themselves, and now it's at the epicenter of a new humanitarian catastrophe thrust upon them as the fallout from Sudan's fighting spills over to its neighbors. Khartoum is 8 hours down that road, and this is the most direct way that people can flee the war and come to South Sudan, a place where they say they feel safe. In oppressive heat of 40+ degrees Celsius, caravans of exhausted donkeys bring people and baggage across the frontier. Some climb trees to get a mobile phone signal to let family know they're safe.
It's my wife and those my kids.
Hafiz Muhammad Ali escaped the bombardment in Khartoum with his wife and 4 children.
There is a lot of war there. It's bad because the airplane is beating a lot of places.
How do you feel now that you've crossed the border?
Now I'm very safe. This is, I'm Sudanese. When I come here, I will be comfortable.
Ali is in the minority here. Most of the arrivals are actually South Sudanese people who fled their own country's civil war over the last decade. Now they're returning, but most have nothing to come back to here.
We are operating in here.
UN worker Mulu James Boure says he sees about 1,000 people crossing every day.
They say they are not sure when this war is ending because though there is ceasefire, but they don't see it ending soon.
In the town of Renk, an hour away, there is a medical clinic for urgent needs. Shushu Deng, who's 3 months pregnant, took a bullet in her arm about a month ago as Sudan's warring factions fought gun battles outside of her house near Khartoum.
She's staying at home, then the gunshot come.
It came through the house?
Yeah.
Just came through a wall?
Yeah. And the places near her all are affected, destroyed by the gunshot.
When she felt it was safe to move, she and her family fled. Most new arrivals temporarily stay in a transit camp. It has drinking water and food, but it's a stopgap. Renk can't handle all of these people, and they need to be moved on quickly.
I'm at the port now. How many people are we left to move to fill this boat?
A daunting logistical challenge that's largely fallen to a Canadian, Aaron Adkins, who's with the UN's International Organization for Migration.
Logistically, this is very challenging for everything from the boats to the fuel to the buses and trucks. Everything is either broken or barely running. So we're having to day by day address all these little issues.
Adkins is originally from Fredericton, but growing up, his family split their time between PEI and Kenya, where he's usually based.
Myself and all of IOM and also the rest of the humanitarian community are very concerned about trying to get people back to their intended destination, because if we cannot, we will end up with a long-term humanitarian response that extends over years and years and years.
With local roads in awful shape, the White Nile River, which is not white at all, is the only route to move people to larger population centers, and these converted cargo boats are the only means to do it. There's a mad crush for space and to not get left behind. This loading scene is chaotic. There's 300 people crammed onto this small boat. There's no place to stand up. There's no toilets, and people have to bring their own food with them. And it's a 2-day trip up the Nile River. One passenger asked us to help him shield his body from the blistering heat.
Sun is too hot now.
Right.
Yeah.
So what are you going to do?
I need umbrella.
You need an umbrella?
Yeah.
I don't have an umbrella. Even when those on the boats reach bigger towns or cities, this crisis won't be over. There have been reports of violence involving new arrivals as food and water are scarce. More than 10 million people, 76% of South Sudan's population, already needs humanitarian assistance to survive. Thank you very much. My name is Chris Brown. In the capital, Juba, South Sudan's foreign minister shared his fears that Sudan's instability will threaten an oil pipeline that his country depends on, and that the violence next door will spread.
When your neighbor is burning, don't keep quiet, that burning will finish there. There are always a spillover. One of the spillover is if you have those kind of militarized nation, you know, people running to South Sudan with guns, it creates an insecurity here. When you have probably an agents of Islamists, you know, penetrating and come to Sudan, we become vulnerable as a country.
There have been many attempts to negotiate ceasefires in Sudan, but none seem to last long. And those arriving in rank told us they have little confidence in peace efforts. 16-year-old Najal spoke on behalf of her family. The war is escalating every day, she says, and we're not sure when it will stop, and we're worried. Until 2011, Sudan and South Sudan were the same country. Their fates remain closely connected. The war there carries a very real risk of dragging this fragile country down with it.
Chris, that is hard to watch. We do see Canadians assisting there in South Sudan, but what about the Canadian government?
Well, you do see Canadian flags, Adrienne, on humanitarian tents at some of those shelters. Ottawa has kicked in $31 million to help South Sudan specifically deal with this exodus. But when you're there, what's striking is just really how fragile this place is. Without an immense humanitarian effort, it couldn't function. People left because of a civil war, and now they're being forced to return. And there really isn't the infrastructure or the economy to integrate them. And that's causing all kinds of ethnic and political tensions when everyone's all jammed together, as you saw, and they're on the move. So it really is a very precarious situation.
Indeed. Chris, thanks to you and the team. Chris Brown in London.
Thanks.